Well, hello, hello, hello to all you wisdom walkers out there. This is Jojopah, Maria, and Saroma coming to you with the Wisdom Walk Talk for June of 2025. And as always, before I begin to roll out this information for you, I want to start by honoring the ancestors. Yes. And I invite you to join me. I always start with Mali Domas of Bon Sommet, my wonderful, wonderful teachers, now both ancestors who came from Burkina Faso, land of the proud ancestors. And especially at this time we're in, let's call out for some non-physical help. Let's call out for those who came before us, those whose shoulders we're standing on, so that we can stay strong in our resolve to really embrace this new earth consciousness. Yes. So you can say their names out loud, you can whisper them, but join me as I invoke the ancestors. Creator, Mother, Father, God, Source, all the one, all that is, may the ancestors hear our prayers. Ancestors, 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 we call out to you at the end of the first half of 2025 and ask you to enable us to value and understand acceptance and non-attachment as our rod and our staff for moving through this chaotic, confusing, and painful earth year. Guide us safely through our personal and collective challenges and enable us to trust that everything is happening for a divine reason, which we cannot yet understand. Grant us the courage to practice negative capability, embracing uncertainty and mystery without seeking out facts or reasons. Continue, ancestors, to grant us access to our higher timelines, where we know that unconditional love is the ultimate reward for our self-mastery. Continue to give us the strength and courage to honor this new age and new earth consciousness, daring greatly to live out our new narratives and knowing that these are divinely scripted for ourselves and for our world. And most importantly, ancestors, continue to enable us to move forth from these dark ages of modernity by placing our heads below our hearts, valuing people over profits, and always, always, always choosing love over fear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. Ashe Ahoasa Shinga Bismillah, and so it is. Well, good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Wisdom Walk Talk here on my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. And again, I am your host and guide, Jojopah, Maria, and Saroma. In this live stream / video, I'm going to guide you through a contemplative 5-month review of our collective annual commitments, which are transform, unlearn, transcend, reclaim, and validate, which I have been spilling on over these last several months since January. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a summary of an recent article I came upon from Deepak Chopra on LinkedIn, and I'll share that link with you in the description box below if you want to read the whole article. And this is where he presents what's involved on the path to unconditional love, because he wrote a really, really good book. I reference it all the time when I'm doing my work with clients. It's called The Path to Love. And if you haven't read it, definitely get it. Chapter 5, really powerful. And so, of course, this is definitely what our annual theme is. It's about being on this journey, right? We're going through this journey to really, really experience how doing our self-mastery work rewards us with our ability or growing our capacity to love ourselves unconditionally. So I'm going to take you through a summary of Deepak's work. Then I'm going to align it to our collective commitments. And I'm going to ask you to rate your progress. And of course, I will share my own personal progress. So right now, I invite you to sit, lay back as always, and join me on this exploration into our inner landscape where you can connect with your soul and heart and remember the true treasure of being human. Yes, 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 yes. So I want to start off by doing a shout out to, it is LGBTQIA Pride Month in June. And here where I'm living, there was a Pride celebration last Saturday. Yeah. So even in small towns across America, people are recognizing the importance of diversity and honoring it. So to all those who walk what I call the two-spirited path, thank you, thank you, thank you for having the courage to do that during these times that we are living in. Ashe. Also, today here in the United States is Father's Day. And as this quote I pulled from Barack Obama says, any fool can have a child. That doesn't make you a father. It's the courage to raise a child that makes you a father. Isn't that beautiful? Just absolutely wonderful. So happy Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers out there, all the fathers that I have been blessed to know in my life. And yeah, where would we be without our young energy? Absolutely. My quote for tonight comes, of course, from Deepak Chopra, from his article on the path to unconditional love. And he says, unconditional love is both a natural and exalted state, but achieving it involves sustained effort and commitment. Although glimpses of unconditional love can be seen in moments of innocence or profound beauty, the challenge lies in transforming these fleeting experiences into a permanent reality. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's like really, really cool. Really cool. Just to put that up again because it's just so cool. Yeah, we need that. So let me break down this article for you from which I pulled that quote where he talks about what unconditional love is and what the path to it is about. So he says unconditional love reflects a transformation in how love is perceived, going beyond typical human relationships to encompass a spiritual dimension. You know, I love that. While this idea of unconditional love might seem unattainable for many, it is described as a journey with distinct stages, a beginning, a middle, and end, each marked by evolving feelings and awareness. So really, really important here is to understand that getting to love ourselves unconditionally and others is a developmental process. And that, you know, as we are going through our self-mastery process, that's what we're doing. We're evolving our feelings. Yeah. Expanding our capacity to get to this higher timeline, understanding and acceptance of what pure love, true love of the universe is really about. Yeah. Really cool stuff. So he goes on then to talk about these three stages, and he explains them in this way. The beginning stage, this is love is primarily need-based and tied to ego, passion, and mutual dependency or codependency. Relationships often involve negotiation and conflict as people balance personal desires and compatibility with their partners. Love here is defined by attachment, romance, and merging personalities. And again, you know, especially when we're starting out, even in elementary school, right? You know, this is very much a characteristic of what our understanding and experience of love, especially in relationship, is about. The middle stage, this is where love becomes less egocentric and need-driven, transforming into a force of healing and empathy. Awareness expands, reducing insecurities. Relationships become more peaceful, centered on appreciation and forgiveness, with less defensive behavior. Love is idealistic, unselfish, calm, and accepting. Yes. And again, this really is going through a lot. I'd say a lot of heartbreak to get to this level of love and getting towards that higher one. And here's the end stage, which he says love reaches its highest form, becoming unconditional and emerging from a spiritual source within oneself. I'll repeat that. Love reaches its highest form, becoming unconditional and emerging from a spiritual source within oneself. This transcendent state involves pure compassion, a sense of belonging to humanity, and self-sufficient fulfillment, which I often talk about interdependence. Yeah. Relationships are free from struggle, and love is blissful, luminous, and boundless. Yeah, just sit with that for a minute. Just sit with that for a minute about this higher timeline, this higher understanding of love, and how relationships become not things that tire you out or drain your energy, but actually they enliven you. There's a vitality to it. He says blissful, luminous, and boundless. And yes, in our reality, these are aspirational things. But again, how wonderful to know that this is what we can be working on, that we don't have to accept that beginning stage as the only experience of loving ourselves and others can ever be. Yeah, really, really cool. Love it. So now let's go forward because, excuse me, this year, our collective commitments revolve around this notion of unconditional love as the ultimate reward for self-mastery. So we are taking on transformation, unlearning, transcending, reclaiming, and validating of ourselves in order to grow this capacity to get to self-mastery. So I wanted to show you how this is aligned with what Deepak is talking about. So we have a beginning. And the beginning involves making contact with your inner self, honestly facing your inner obstacles and resistance. And that goes along with our collective commitments of transform and unlearn. In the middle, it's about dealing with old wounds, forgiving your past, and that aligns with our commitment of transcend. And then the end, where we're forming relationships where you feel loved and appreciated, practicing the kind of love you aspire to receive. And that aligns with our collective commitments of validate and reclaim. So let's go on and let me take you through some contemplative questioning and rating of yourself so that you can really get hold of, okay, where am I at? Where am I at right now on my journey? It's been 5 months. If you've been watching this work that I've been doing, it's been 5 months of getting some information, some guidance, some encouragement, some cheerleading to be on this journey to unconditionally love yourself and others. So here we go. Transform is about choosing to transform your attachment to objects and materials. You open yourself to eternal wealth, unconditional love of self. Align with the evolutionary impulse of the universe. So here's the question. What has happened to strengthen your ability to not be attached to things, people, places, and situations you thought you couldn't live without? Let go of shame, blame, and guilt, and rate yourself truthfully. So just think about that, and then I'll put up the little rating scale for you. What has happened to strengthen your ability not to be attached to things, people, places, and situations you thought you couldn't live without? So on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being not satisfied at all, 5 being most satisfied and ready for more in regards to my progress. And I aligned these with the planets, being so interested in astrology as I am. And so Pluto is 1, Mercury 2, Venus 3, Saturn 4, and Uranus is 5, because that represents a real shift, a real turnaround. So while you're contemplating that, or maybe grabbing your notebook, let me share with you my progress and my rating that I gave myself for this one about Transform. If I can find my little notes here. Oh, here we go. All right. So on this one, I give myself a 4. I give myself a 4. And this is about having to leave Southern California, where I thought I was going to be forever, having to leave that behind. But I did it not intentionally, but what came out of it is that I could live more stably. I don't have to be as nomadic as I was. I had to leave a lot of stuff behind. People, friends, activities that I loved. I had to leave perpetual sunshine behind. I even had to let go of my car, which is like really big for me. But in it, I knew that, I was really being called to something more. I don't know even yet all of what that is, but I did know I had to not be attached. And I can remember when I got here to my own apartment, that was the first message I kept getting from the ancestors and my spirit guides. Don't be attached, don't be attached, don't be attached. And so, definitely it was having to be moved. Again, it all happened very, very fast and because of a health issue. But that's what got me to really open up and let go. Now, also part of my story is that things that I had let go of and put in storage for several years came back to me because I now had stability. So that's really interesting. So we never know. But that was Transform for me. Moving along, let's go to number 2, which is Unlearn. And this is about, by choosing to unlearn the superficial and complex approach to life, you will learn how to experience all of your relationships with simplicity and depth. True success in life is fulfillment through love and happiness. So, what did you unlearn about yourself to become more authentic and to connect with your higher purpose? What did you unlearn, about yourself to become more authentic and to connect with your higher purpose? Let go of shame, blame, or guilt and rate yourself truthfully. Unlearn, I didn't do a lot of spilling on because I was sick in February. That one was in February. But of course, all of the other ones really tied into it. But I will be doing a very specific one on Unlearn starting in August. I'll do that in August. So for me, in regards to this one, my rating for me is I'm going to give myself a 5 on this one. And I'll tell you why. Because this unlearning had to do with being in the cold again. After thinking that I had escaped it, and also about being isolated. Um, and what happened is, if I was not doing my work, being put back into the cold, and I mean some serious cold, like some serious cold, like I've been so used to the sunshine that 50-degree weather felt to me like 20 degrees. So you can imagine when it went down to like minus 20 in the temperature, I ain't talking about wind chill factor. Yeah, I could have just been like, I'm going to die. I'm just going to die. And the isolation, because it's too cold to go outside. I couldn't roam around in the way that I did in Southern California. And what really helped me was surrendering. Yeah, really surrendering to my situation. I just really, really got it that I needed to just give myself, this opportunity to learn and unlearn about the cold and isolation, to not see that as, oh, I'm going to die. I learned to have a respect for the cold rather than being afraid of it. I learned to have an appreciation for isolation rather than treating it like, oh, you're going to die because you can't go anywhere and you can't do anything. So it was a really big unlearning. I got through the winter very well. I was only sick about 2 times. One time was longer than the other, but compared to what it could have been, I was like, yeah, I really shifted something up here. So that's my rating for the second one. So now let's go on to the third one, which is about transcend. By choosing to transcend to the higher timeline where unconditional love overflows, you will escape from victimhood and self-sabotage. The lower timeline of the 5 senses is not the only reality. Wow. Good one. So here's a question. How were you able to, or what happened to strengthen your ability to access your higher timeline and embrace negative capability? How were you able to, or what happened to strengthen your ability to access your higher timeline and embrace negative capability? Remember, that's about being okay with being in the not knowing. Again, let go of your shame, blame, or guilt and rate yourself truthfully. This one. I am going to give myself. I'm changing it a little bit now. I think that for me, with transcending, I give myself a 3. I'll go to Venus, because what this was about for me was having to really accept that I didn't need to keep doing what I had already accomplished. I didn't need to exhaust myself in order to be of service in the world. As being a Pisces, there's like a conditioning for Pisces about, there's a negativity that we can be attached to about, I have to give it all up. I have to sacrifice everything in order to be okay, in order for it to be okay. And, I've chosen to do positive Pisces, which is about being in that flow. So I had to transcend conditioning and a belief system about how I need to show up in the world. And I really had to go to that higher timeline. I had to let go of thinking that what I knew in terms of how I'd been operating and things I'd been doing, that that's the way it's always going to be. Yeah. And so I had to go higher. Yeah, definitely had to go higher. And like I said, yeah, I'm about a 3. I'm still working on it, but I'm very grateful for to be at a 3 and not back still at a 1. So next, let's go into the 4th collective commitment, which is reclaim. And this is saying by choosing to reclaim the truth of who you are liberated from codependency and the need for control dramas. We can grow into our self knowledge and be self referred. So the question is, what supported you choosing to start doing what you love as an expression of your authentic self? What supported you choosing to start doing what you love as an expression of your authentic self, the who you really are? Let go shame, blame, or guilt, and rate yourself truthfully. For me, with this one, I am definitely I'm going to give myself another 4. Yeah, it's a little better. Yeah, I'm a 4. Not quite a 5 yet, but I definitely am a 4 because this reclaiming for me has really been about giving myself permission to really play piano every day, to do some writing every day, and to really slow down with how I was putting out my output. You know, again, going down to just one wisdom talk live stream a month and bringing the other 2 forms of live stream I was doing onto Sunday. So it really kind of, lessened the pressure that I was under. And these are things I love to do, but it's like I'm just doing it in a more manageable way. Um, what reclaimed too, I realized that I had been more ego driven than I thought. I was really into this. I've got to be seen and heard all the time. And yeah, and so that had been blocking me giving myself permission and time to do these things I really love. And there's other things I love to do. Like, of course, I love watching my movies. I love reading books. And so, yeah, just giving myself more time to do that and roll it into this is a lifestyle, not keeping it like, oh, I'll get to it when I have time. But no, 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 no. These things need to be happening on a daily basis. Yeah. Yeah. Way cool. And then last but not least, validate. Our collective commitment for validating. By choosing to validate your unique self, you automatically grow your capacity for sharing and receiving unconditional love. You can believe that you are valuable enough and worthy of receiving the right support. Which of the 3 major blocks to your worthiness, invalidation, heartbrokenness, and comparison, which I talked about last month, did you consciously work on getting over / dismantling? And what is successfully supporting you with validating yourself? So think about which of the 3 major blocks to your worthiness, invalidation, heartbrokenness, and comparison, did you consciously work on getting over, dismantling? And what is successfully supporting you with the validating of yourself? Take a minute for that, but let go of shame, blame, or guilt and rate yourself truthfully. Is it Pluto? Is it Mercury? Is it Venus? Is it Saturn? Is it Uranus? So for me, The block that I've been consciously focusing on is heartbrokenness. I actually want to develop an online workshop around that because I think it's something that affects us in ways that we don't think about. Because it's not just about your heart broken over a relationship, a romantic relationship, but disappointments in life or people that you thought you could trust and that show themselves to be untrustworthy, betrayal that shows up, or a job situation where you entered in believing one thing and then found out that that wasn't true and that really made your situation uncomfortable. Things like that. That's all of that is very heartbreaking. Yeah, very heartbreaking. So I have been consciously working on that and looking at, okay, what's the treasure in it? What's the treasure in the heartbrokenness that I have experienced so that I don't stay victim to that experience or situation or person? And to really find the treasure in my heartbrokenness, like what has this contributed to me? What has it done? I give myself Venus for that. I'm at a 3 level. Because it's so much in there, so much to unpack, things that you didn't even realize. It's like, wow, that really did break my heart, And what supports me in it is daily forgiveness prayers and daily gratitude prayers. Yeah. So when I feel that pain of the heartbrokenness, as I'm uncovering situations and things, the first thing I do is go into a forgiveness prayer. Lord, enable me to forgive that person, that situation, that thing, and myself. Because when your heart gets broken, you really blame yourself at first. Yeah, that's all you can do. It's like, oh, it's got to be my fault. So correcting that with forgiveness, and then the gratitude being, it didn't kill me. I'm still here. And I know there's got to be some treasure in why I had to go through that. And for me, at the age I'm at, one of the biggest pieces of treasure in healing from heartbrokenness is that I'm able to, number one, free myself up from thinking it was only my fault or it was my fault, and to have compassion, to have deep compassion, mostly for myself. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I hope this is helpful to you so that you have this time to really look at your progress. Where are you at and where you want to go? So like with this last one, in terms of validating myself, if I'm at Venus, by the end of the year, I want to be in Uranus. Yeah, I want there to be something shifting where I am not doubting my worthiness, my valuing of myself, and my believing that I am worthy of love, happiness, joy, my happy endings in life, all of them. Absolutely. So I hope that the rating scale is supportive for you for that, to help you stretch, want to help you stretch and grow more into the truth of who you truly are. So congratulations for doing your wonderful, wonderful, great work on yourself, for being committed, as Deepak talks about, on this journey to unconditional love. Keep up the great work. It's so, so very, very important. Ashe. So let me share the Miss Sarah quote for this month and for this time. My dear Miss Sarah said, I wish you love to hold when you feel empty, and a hand to hold when you're afraid. And for the times we are living in with so much fear and so many anxiety producing things going on, decision makings. Yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful, I think it's a blessing to share with you from my dear Miss Sarah. Ashe. And so, my dears, we come to the close again of another Wisdom Walk Talk for you. I want to shout out to all my regular listeners and to my dear, dear friend Denise. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Denise. And she's home with her family celebrating and being joyful and having a wonderful time with her personal new year. And so, to all of you who have birthdays this month, all you Geminis and into Cancer, happy, happy, happy birthday. Um, Again, to all of you who have wisdom walk with me and you know who you are, to my family here in the Midwest, as well as on the West Coast, and of course on the East Coast, to my spiritual kin, my medicine brothers and sisters from around the world, and those who may be listening and watching for the first time. I would like to say thank you. Big thank you. I couldn't do this without you and your willingness to listen and watch and stay committed to growing yourself into the best version that you can be. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The owners of Black Hole Radio are still in the process of finding that new platform for the radio. So again, for those of you that really appreciate that I also have, I guess I call it podcast now. Thank you for your patience, and hopefully they will have something done by the end of the month. But I'll keep you posted. Yeah. Upcoming, I will be live streaming. July is my break time. But I will do the Elemental Wisdom on Sunday, July 6th. I'll do Astrology for Self-Mastery on July 13th. And I'll probably do the second half of July on another time. Or I might get it all in one. It just depends. But I will not be live streaming Wisdom Walk Talk for July. I'll return and do that on August the 3rd. Yeah. Let's give myself a little bit of break. Yeah. Quick promotions for you, important ones though. This is my dear mentee and long-term friend, Miss Aminata Desert Rose Firewalker Woman, formerly Dr. Amanda Kemp. And she is doing an online summer solstice ritual workshop retreat called Regenerate and Roar. And it's a 5-day online soul journey for women ready to rise. Step into sacred alignment with the power of the solstice. This transformational journey is supported by the earth, spirit, and your ancestors, as well as a circle of courageous women. And she's keeping the numbers down. So if you'd like some more information, go to our website, www.dramandakemp.com. and look for the summer solstice soul journey information. And Aminata is very, very powerful and wonderful high priestess. And she actually took the Dagara creation story that I put in my book and made it come alive to music. And actually it jumped into the role of the griot. If you don't know what that is, look it up. And she does some really good conjuring when she and her musician friends, including her husband who plays the violin, when they do that story in that way. Hopefully I'm going to get a video of that that I can share at some point. Yeah, very, very wonderful. I also want to remind you of my dear friend and colleague, Miss Queen Reverend Adara, and her Heart for Healing service, free of charge every first and third Wednesday of the month. And you can go to her website to get more information, which is www.spiritismylife.com. Click on events. And Adara also now has a YouTube channel, which is Spirit is My Life. So you can also, go back and see some of her healing work. It's very powerful. It's one of my go-tos when I really, really need to go deep with somebody that I know can hold space for me. So I think you'll really, really appreciate that. Absolutely. Yeah. So just proming my book, it's still out there, still available online, Kindle, Abe's books. Yeah. And my dear friend Juanita Roberson, along with Amy Houghton, their book, The Underground Railroad, also available online, Kindle, Abe's books, and other online booksellers. So, my darlings, thank you, thank you, thank you for again tuning in. And last but not least, I want to thank my God, my ancestors, my spirit guides, loving entities, everything that walks with me, keeps my head to the sky, my feet to the ground, and my heart open to do this important work with and for all of you. Please have a very healthy and safe end of a double water week, which we're in right now, releasing what can no longer support us for our happy endings. Yes. You know, here where I'm living, we've had overcast and rain for 5 days in a row. It's no joke about this releasing this week. And it started on Wednesday. Yeah. And then we're also at the opening of the Nature Week, where we get to welcome more change. Yes. Continue to strengthen your immune system. I can't stress that enough. Protect your nervous system, especially by not taking on other people's pain, meddling in situations that you don't need to be bothering with. Exactly. And most importantly, my dear darlings, please remember that you are not disposable. Why? Because you truly are divine. Thank you, and I will talk with you again very soon. Bye bye now.